What's up, everyone? This is Bill with BLR Tuning. You guys know what time it is. Today's watch, focus, Invicta Bolt Zeus. So this is another graffiti edition one that I have with the stainless steel this time and the red and white graffiti. So really cool. All kinds of stuff hidden again in the graffiti there. Little glow-in-the-dark dial. Today's video is for the Kawasaki ZH2. This is the 2023 ZH2, our shop bike Athena. This is a Turbosmart blow-off valve. This comes from Extreme Creations, so it's all set up so it fits perfect on the bike. And unbox it here, show you what all you get in the box. Get one of their decals there. Here's our blow-off valve, block off. You got a Turbosmart decal here. Okay. So, here is their information, Extreme Creations. Okay, and then you have your, obviously your Turbosmart blow-off valve here, and a gasket. So, remember on your gasket, the smooth side, it's going to go against the blow-off valve, the rough side against the airbox, plenum, whatever you want to call it, inside their work mounts. Okay, it does come with some basic instructions. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward install. You have to tear the bike down, you have to get it under the tank, you have to get the intake tube off. Okay, and then this is going to cap off where the air from the stock blow-off valve blows back into the intake tube. This is going to cap that off. Got a clamp there for it. Okay, so basically what we're doing now is we're going to be letting air come back out to the atmosphere. The supercharger is going to be sucking in only cold air from the intake itself instead of getting recycled air that's on the factory blow-off valve going back into the inlet tube. It's blowing hot air back in there. So this way we're going to keep the engine intake temperatures a little bit cooler. Cooler running bike makes more horsepower, obviously. So we'll take a look at the bike. We'll take a ride on the bike. And let you guys hear how it sounds stock. We'll get our install done. And then we will let you guys hear what it sounds like with the blow-off valve. Okay, I do have in the description below this video, there is a link that will take you to the teardown video. Okay, so I'll refer you over to that video. Go watch that video. If you don't know how to tear the bike down, go watch that video. I walk you through it step by step. Come back, do your install, and then obviously do that step in reverse to get the bike back together. But we're doing that to cut time on the video, keep the time frames down. And that video will help us with lots of different installs that we have going for this bike. Okay, so we can always just refer back over to that video. If we don't know how to tear it down, you guys can go watch that video. The Extreme Creations blow-off valve for the ZH2 came from Australia. It is 265 Australian, so whatever that translates to. We got it here in the US. I believe with shipping and everything, it's around $300, something like that. Okay, there will be a link in the description below to go purchase one. Huge shout out to those guys for getting this over so quickly. When we emailed them and we had a question, they answered that question without any problems, really quick. So really awesome company to go through, and they have lots of helpful videos as well. Okay, and then remember, this little nipple up here will swivel. You can point it where you needed to point it, or get it, wherever in position, wherever you need to. You do not need to tighten this. It is designed to swivel. Okay. It is supposed to swivel. There's no need to do anything to it. Okay. All right. So we'll head over here to the bike. Let you guys check it out. We'll hear a little sound test real quick on the Insta360 on the chin mount, and then we will come back, go watch the teardown video, and then we'll move on to that install. Okay, guys. So here is the 2023 ZH2 SE Athena. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up here, let you guys hear it right here. We'll give it a couple little revs. We already got some heat in the motor. And then we'll take it for a quick little ride, let you guys hear what it sounds like riding. And then we'll come back, we'll do our install, then we'll take it out again, Let you guys hear what it's like after we get the blow-off valve on there. Okay. Remember, this is with the stock exhaust also. Okay. We'll do the same thing after we get that blow-off valve installed, but let's go take it for a ride. Let you guys hear what it sounds like when we're riding and we let off the throttle and you hear the internal blow-off valve, and then we'll come back and do our install. Okay, so you got to hear that on the Insta360. We're using the Insta360 X3 on a chin mount from Chin Mounts to record that video. So you got to hear what it sounds like stock exhaust, stock turbo set, or stock supercharger setup, and the stock blow-off valve and everything, all that. The blow-off valve from the factory, you can see right here, this hose, it releases the air pressure when you let off. Any boost that is built up in the system gets distributed back into your inlet intake tube there. So a blow-off valve essentially is going to be atmospheric. May not add a ton of horsepower, but what it is going to do is keep hot air from getting recirculated back into the intake. So for example, if you rip on it and let off, all that hot air gets blown, hot compressed air gets blown back into the inlet, sucked back into the supercharger, and then just keeps rebreathing the same hot air over and over. So an atmospheric blow-off valve is going to release the air into the atmosphere. You'll plug off this hose here. You get rid of the hose, you'll plug off the nipple that's over here, and you'll end up having cold air always feeding through the intake into the supercharger. No more hot air getting recirculated. So, and a cooler motor is a happier motor, right? Cooler motor makes more horsepower, makes more torque. It's just a happier motor if it's cooled. So that's what the goal behind this is. So I'll refer you over. You'll see a link in the description below. I have a teardown video where I show how to remove all the plastic, the gas tank, the seats, all that we need to get out of our way, and the intake tube. So we have a teardown video that will walk you through that. This way you can just go watch that video, come back, and we will be underneath here and down to where the blow-off valve is getting installed, and we'll show you that. Okay, and then we'll take it for another ride. Okay guys, so if you followed along, you saw how our intake tube comes off and how we break down everything and get the tank off. Again, that video is in the link in the description below. So if you need to use that video, go watch it now, and that'll get you to where we're at right here. Okay. And if you still have your rubber O-ring for your blow-off or for your supercharger, make sure that you have it sitting there and make sure you keep track of where that guy is. Okay, so what we need to remove is the two 10mm bolts. We need to be mindful of everything that we do here so you don't get nothing messed up, okay? If you need to move this out of your way, you can unbolt these two here and lift this whole bracket out of the way. We need is this breather line off of here, and we need those two 10mm bolts on the factory blow-off valve out. And then obviously we have our hose here. Okay, remember there is a clamp on the end on it still. We are going to get that clamp off, and then we'll slide it right on out with that blow-off valve, which it is connected. You can see down in there. That's connected right down there. Okay, so it'll come up out of there with that. Here you can see we have our intake tube sitting here. The nipple that comes in the box from Extreme Creations, the little plug, is going to go over this with the clamp on it. So that hose is no longer going to get used. That's where air would have been feeding back into the intake, and instead is going to be atmospheric at this point. So we'll get that plug on there, and we'll get this guy and fish it out of there. Okay. Okay, you can see here we got our little plug on there with the clamp on, with the open ends of the clamp facing down, just like it was from the factory on the hose in there. So now we'll go in and we'll get that guy out of there. Okay. Okay, so I was able to get this out of there. All I had to move was, if you push down on this tab back here, you can slide this plug here off of its little mounting bracket, and then everything moves out of the way, enough for you to slide this out all the way like that. So this guy will just slide up and out of there, and then you will have its own gasket. And remember, if you're ever putting it back together, the flat side of the gasket goes against here. You might want to clean this up if you're ever going to reuse it. But that is what came out of there. We are now going to slide in our blow-off valve. Okay, guys, I had this up on the tripod, and yeah, that video was non-usable. All you could do is see my hands the whole time. So anyway, you got to make sure you get your paper gasket in here. The flat side of the paper gasket goes against the blow-off valve. The rougher side goes against the plenum airbox. Call it what you want. Okay, if we slide this guy back, we got our bolts in there started, just sitting there loose. If we pull it back, we can see our gasket, and we can verify that our paper gasket is in place the way it should be. All I had to do was unplug this right here. That dropped in. Once we bolt it down, we'll take this and put it back on its little bracket. Remember, our little nipple here can swivel. When we get this bolted down, we will then put this hose back on, and its little clamp right there that you can see. Okay. So let me get to that point, and then we will go from there. Okay, so we got everything all bolted down. Remember, don't over torque those 10mm bolts. There is no, they don't include in torque specs for them, but you're threading into aluminum, so use common sense. Don't over torque them. Okay, drop a blue Loctite on them, cinch them down. It's got a gasket in there, goes snug. Then you got your little breather here. Okay, this little hose, put it back onto that nipple. It can swivel so it's out of the way. Then we put our plug back, make sure we plug everything back in. So now, if you followed my disassembly video, you can go back, watch that, do it all in reverse, get the bike back assembled. We're going to get it back to where we have the gas tank back on, and then we'll come back. We'll lift the gas tank up. We'll let you see the blow-off valve working. And then we'll go out and take it for a ride, and you'll be able to see that on video with the 360 camera, the X3. Okay, so at this point, we're going to put it back together, and we'll come back here in a minute when we have the tank up in the air. Okay, guys, so you can see the blow-off valve right here. Okay, we got to hook our breathers back up, put it all back together, but you see how it works. So let me get it back together here. Okay, guys, we got our blow-off valve installed, everything back together. You see we have it in gear right now, just so it'll give a little boost so I can let you hear it up on the stand. We're going to take it out for a rip and let you guys hear what it sounds like when we're up on the chin mount with the 360 cam. better when it's under a load. So let's take it for a rip. Okay guys, well you got to see there what it sounds like when you're actually on the gas and under a load. And let me tell you what, I had no idea that that blow-off valve would be that loud. I bet you could hear that from a couple blocks away when it's releasing its air pressure when it's deep in the boost. Yeah, pretty crazy. And you know, it may not be, maybe you can't hear it that far away. I mean, I'm sure you can. It is pretty loud, but also it's right here. That big open area right in there. So when you're riding the bike, if you're tucked down, that is right in your face, just whistling and all kinds of noises coming out of this thing. You can hear the whistle from the, and you can hear the whirly noises and chirping coming from the intake. You can hear the blow off once it starts releasing the boost back out of that, you know, in the other way. And yeah, I can't imagine what this thing's going to sound like with an exhaust on it. It's going to be freaking nuts, dude. So anyway, like I say, guys, this is my dream bike. I'm in love. I love this thing. It is crazy, crazy power. More power than you could ever even use on the road. And I'm sure at the track, this thing would be an absolute monster of a bike to take to the track. But anyway, that's my video, guys. I hope that helps somebody out with the install on that blow-off valve. And like I said, there, you know, you have that in the description below. You got that teardown video. You can go follow that in reverse to get your bike all back together. You can see we got it back together, no problem. No bolts left over, so that's always nice. But go check us out, BLRTUNING.TECH. There'll be a link in the description down below. And we have a whole entire ZH2 section. We have a bunch of different bikes on there, you'll see. And if you don't see a bike that you're looking for, like if you're looking for a Power Commander or ECU Flash or something like that, and you don't see your bike listed on there, hit us up. Scroll to the bottom of the page. Look at the contact us button. Send us an email. Let us know what bike you have, and let's see what we can get done for you. You know, it's impossible for me to add all of the different Dynojet products and list all the different ECUs that are available for flash tuning. You know, it's dang near impossible. So we try to update it all the time, but it's a lot to keep track of. So anyway, if you don't see your bike, hit us up. Let's get it tuned. Let's get it dialed in. I hope my install videos help you out. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. It is greatly appreciated. As y'all know, we just hit 10K. I'm stoked. Anyways, big shout out to Extreme Creations for getting that thing out to me so quickly. I'm impressed, to say the least. I'll be ordering more parts from those guys. They make some killer stuff for this bike. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.